Welcome to the Wizards official podcast with our hosts, Bryce, Will, and Mike.
Watch your back. Shoot straight. Conserve ammo. And never, ever cut a deal with the dragon.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Mike, this is Will, and today we're going to be talking about the brand new Fantastic Four by Dan Slott and whoever the heck drew this thing.
A bunch of people did things.
Yeah, I know, it's Sarah Pacelli did the main story, who did the big chunk. Just diving right back into it, Fantastic Four is back. Will, what'd you think, man?
It was Marvel quality, I'd say, like that average.
You didn't like it, but it had like, oh wait, sorry, like good, like we're being sarcastic or not?
So when I say Marvel quality, that's kind of like my just generic thing of saying like it wasn't bad, but it was like it was a good Marvel story. Like it didn't blow my, like the Marvel movies. You know how like Marvel movies are good nowadays, but they don't blow your mind anymore.
It's like a solid C+.
Yeah.
Like it's like good, but not great. It's like just getting 75% on your test. You're like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't need to know much about it. It was a good story because I knew the characters. I knew what's been going on slightly. Yeah. So it was like a nice continuation. It wasn't a flat just restart. But
any of the Marvel 2-in-1?
I read bits and pieces,
okay, yeah.
like so I know the synopsis of it, so that's why I kind of understood this. But that whatever that word is.
Yeah.
But it's the Doom part of the book that made me the happiest.
Yeah, the Doom part was awesome. Going through the book personally, like the main story for me, like it was enjoyable as I was reading it, and I was like, it's pretty cool. So for anybody who didn't get into it, so we'll just dive straight into looking at the book, right?
I didn't see the marriage part. That part skipped me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the big. That's one of the big parts. So what Will's talking to about, guys, is so we get into the book here, and really, what you get is a lot of Fantastic Four memories and throwbacks. You get some stuff like Johnny going to like a baseball game with his buddy and his roommate Wyatt. Yeah. And you get a lot of like Ben Grimm out with Alicia Masters, like his longtime girlfriend, the blind sculptor. And when all of a sudden Fantastic Four just like appears in fire in the sky, and they're like, Johnny just goes rushing in. He's like, it's them! They're back finally! And Ben's kind of been a lot more pessimistic about this thing because he's like, no, they are dead. I truly know that they are dead, and they definitely are that. Yeah. And so he's kind of been a lot more like, for lack of a better term, bitchy about it. But it turns out, you know what I mean, Fantastic Four's back, Johnny goes racing off, and it's just a bunch of kids.
It's BC right now.
Which is kind of funny. What's that?
It's BC.
It's BC, yeah. This is what's going on in BC right now, guys. Here we are. That's Will's good joke. Hey, look, it's us here in Edmonton. Everybody who has been living with the smoke and can see this awesome big yellow page totally knows what the hell we're talking about.
We've become Armageddon.
Yeah, it looks like we're in the middle of Doom right now. For anybody who's not in Edmonton, the BC wildfires are blowing a ton of smoke our way, and we're just living in like a weird, hazy wonderland. It's not even that good. Cheech and Chong would hate it.
Yep.
So they go on and they talk about, like, they spend a long time. Like, this is like the first, like, here we go, like, even more. Like, this is a good, like, exercise issue, like, the entire issue. Like, a big chunk of it, where it's just Ben and Johnny kind of screwing around in New York. So, you know, Johnny catches the kids doing the big Fantastic Four sign, which I was kind of like, of course it's the Yancey Street Gang, because that's classic Fantastic Four stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. But Ben tells this story about like this lost Fantastic Four story about them finding their way home through like music, which I thought was like,
okay.
I thought it was kind of dumb, honestly, because it's like, so Johnny Storm has to sing us home, which is kind of like a cool Fantastic Four thing. It just didn't have any context. It just like didn't feel appropriate.
It's what you do for when you want to include a bard into your D&D campaign.
Yeah, but like not even that good, right? It was just kind of like really random, and it didn't really have much fitting for the story, except for the fact that like this stone that reacts to sound out in space that will take you home. Ben Grimm is a piece of it, apparently, and he fashions it into a ring. And what Will's talking about here is he missed this big page where Ben proposes to his longtime girlfriend Alicia Masters. Ben Grimm, the Thing, finally getting married over here.
I hope they actually stay married.
Hopefully a thing. Well, they haven't gotten married. Yeah. Well, cough. Dude, Fantastic
Marvel.
Four, not even that long ago, before Jonathan Hickman took over, back Mark Millar,
Yeah.
sorry. Mark Millar does
Yes.
kick ass. He did that sweet run with, what's his face? That guy that we love. The Marquis of Death.
Yes.
He wrote that story, just awesome. But before that, he's getting engaged to this like totally other chick, like somebody else that Mark Millar developed and stuff. So it's not like the Thing hasn't been close before, right? And he's been dating Alicia Masters. They've been like common law married for a long time. So I was kind of like, oh, that's cute. And then they meet Johnny, and they ask him to be the best man. And Johnny's like, no, only Richard should be like that. And I kind of feel like this whole thing is pretty annoying to me, because then he goes out crazy and they have this whole reconciliation and kind of cry about, Johnny finally accepting the fact that Reed and Sue are dead. And the part that I was having trouble with is that we're getting really, really far away into the book and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing happened. Like Ben proposed to his girlfriend.
That's
the only thing that happened. Because the Yancey Street thing, that got wrapped up and swept under the rug. It didn't matter. Everything else, doesn't not matter. All the other panels truly, you can just skip literally to when Ben proposes, and that's the meat of the book.
I could see them doing a little mini series where it's them reconciling and the world dealing with them after, kind of it's all a joke. Yeah, we're dealing with them. They're actually just dead. They're gone.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what Marvel Toon One has been, is that Ben, Johnny's been spiraling, and Ben, who's pretty pessimistic about the whole thing, he got this message from Reed, and he got this device which allowed them to travel to other universes. And the whole idea was that, Ben was cool, we're always happiest exploring and doing Fantastic Four stuff. So I'll tell Johnny that we're going to go get him, but really, it's just to take his mind off it. We're just going to go exploring.
Yeah.
And they hook up with, Doom, and who's still infamous Iron Man at this time, and this, Rachna Cowell lady, who's kind of interesting in her own right. But the point is, whatever, Johnny comes back and they're all reconciling and feeling sad, and then we finally get literally less than a panel of Reed and Sue, just their side faces, just chilling here, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I hate that. It's just hey, there's less than a panel of Reed and Sue, and then you get reaction shots from literally everybody in the Marvel Universe, as now we get a big four in front of the Earth. Yes. And that's the end of the story. Literally nothing happened. Okay.
There's the guy in the back of the book, though, that represents us.
So what did you think of the story overall? Just the main story.
Oh, the main one?
Yeah.
I liked it in the sense that Ben and stuff and them dealing with it was a little bit realistic. It was continuing. Yeah. I liked how it could have been taken as no, they're just going to keep them dead. They're going to be happily somewhere else, just those two. And now we're following Ben and Johnny dealing with things and getting their lives together. Yeah. And then...
But that's the problem, is that's kind of what Marvel 2-in-1 has been.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of well, you're selling me the same thing. I'm already buying apples from you. Why do I need more apples? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Grant Smith apples.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not even a different flavor is the problem. It's the same story that they've been telling. And they told most of this issue as that story. So there's really, like I say, there's no new content here in the main story. They still aren't back. It literally, they use the entire issue to tease...
The return.
To tease the return of the Fantastic Four.
The return.
So the return of the Fantastic Four. Check in next time for the actual return of the Fantastic Four. Maybe, we guess. Which is really disappointing. And what Will's talking about is, to just skip for a sec. At the back, they have this great Scotty Young comic.
Yes.
Anybody who read it, I love Scotty Young. He's so funny. Scotty Young's the bomb. And I love that they got the Impossible Man, too, who's a really weird 70s bit of Fantastic Four, really got out of control. He's kind of like Mr. Mixelplick for all the DC heads out there. But it's really cool because Impossible Man sits there and talks about, what the hell do you mean they aren't back together yet? We've waited all this long, and you get all four of them back together. And he gets a letter from the Marvel editors, and they're like, Dear Impossible Man, it'll be back next month, just wait a month. And he's like, oh, I guess one more month is fine. I actually find that super triggering. I don't know about you, but I was kind of, I was oh, that was a pretty good issue. I was 100% with you. It felt like a good C+. You know what I mean? I was like, well, a little disappointing because it didn't blow me away, and we didn't see the 4. And then you get to this thing at the end, and this almost feels like they're talking shit about, like,
The readers.
about the readers, yeah, man. Because it's like, hey, we know this is going to be annoying for you, but just deal with it, okay? And I know it's not that petulant, but the fact that they're like, hey, look, like, we know that you'll hate this, but we swear they'll be back. If you know we'll hate it, why would you do it?
That was kind of like the feeling with, because I know me and my friends were huge into the Destiny scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was the equivalent of what Destiny players felt about when they were talking about all these huge DLC passes and multiple versions of the DLC and unlocking content of story behind it. Like, it's like, why didn't you just give us all this content to begin with? Why do we have to buy all these little micro, like, 5 different DLC expansion passes for a story that should have been there?
Well,
they're like, well, you're just going to buy it anyway, so why do we care?
That's a bit of a difference because that's like DLC culture in video games kind of being
But it kind of felt the way,
you know
right?
what I mean?
It'd be like if you said they were supposed to return here and you got a trailer on TV that said they will be there and you saw them, and then you read this.
No, to me, it's more like starting a TV show called The Return of the Fantastic Four, and then not having the Fantastic Four in the first episode. People aren't going to like it, and then they won't watch the second episode. Why take the risk?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this just tells me that you were aware that people won't like the fact that the Fantastic Four aren't back together in the first issue, and you're just okay with it. You're just going to keep going. To me, that just smacks of poor editing and poor self-control. Like, if you really knew that it was going to be too long for people to wait and that this would trigger some people, why wouldn't you just cut out all that extra fluff? There's 3 pages of Johnny Storm at the ball game with his best friend. I don't care. I don't care about Johnny Storm's personal life at the ball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who cares, dude? I want to see the Fantastic Four. That's what I'm here for. It's not a Human Torch book. It's the Fantastic Four. And that kind of bothers me. Like, this actual back page I thought was really clever and really cute and really funny. And then I read it, and I was like, oh, that kind of feels like they're poo-pooing on their readers. Like, you're talking down to the people who keep you in business. And I really don't like the way that this comes off.
But did you know that we wanted like 80 different people and different diversity in our comics?
Oh my god, let's not even get into that. Man, but so that's one problem that I had with it is that you had a whole extra large issue where like literally nothing happened to the Fantastic Four and the Fantastic Four weren't in it, and like
Things happened, but didn't.
No canon relevant stuff happened. You know what I mean? This comic can be summed up in one sentence. Ben Grimm proposed to Alicia Masters. That's it, guys. That's all that happens. And that's a little disappointing for me. I was kind of a little butthurt. And it leads to another important question that I have, is that if, for those of you who, and this is huge spoilers for Marvel 2-in-1, so you've been fully warned, do not get angry at me when I tell everybody what's happening. In Marvel 2-in-1, like I was saying, Ben and Johnny gone to other dimensions with Doom and this Rock Nakal, or Call, excuse me, I'm mispronouncing it, to find their version of Reed and Sue. And a couple universes in, they find this like weird, messed up, horrible universe ruled by like an evil version of Spider-Man, which is super cool. And he's having like a Contest of Champions gladiator match where like Doctor Strange takes away these people's powers and like teleports them in, and then they have to battle. It's really cool, right? Sounding alternate universe, but that's not the point. The point is they're in this alternate universe and they're fighting the pits, and the whole mechanic behind making the story work is that Ben and Johnny are losing their powers the longer that they're away from Reed and Sue. All 4 of them form an infinite power loop, so as long as they're all together, their powers just generate, and they always have their powers. But without each other, that loop is disrupted, and you only have finite powers. Exactly. So as you're going through these adventures, you have to use your super strength, and he gets less strength, or he gets less fire, or whatever, right? Less oomph into his fire bursts. The point is that they reveal like 2 issues ago that Rock Nakal is, and this has been teased the whole series, that she's out looking for a version of her comatose sister who's recovered from this disease. And she's jumping universes for that. And Doom calls her out on it, and they get into a whole scuffle and bop into another universe.
Right.
And the problem is that leaves Ben and Johnny stranded in this Spider-Man universe. Now, the last issue, they don't have any powers. Their powers are all gone, and they're just like living, trying to exist there anymore. And that really beggars the question of, how come Ben and Johnny are just back? Like, they're back, no questions asked. And their powers are just 100% better. Like, we see right away Johnny, no problem, just zooming around town. You know what I mean? Like, he's just totally fine. And this is a problem that I have with the Marvel a lot right now, because there's, like, no attempt at all made to continuity. So, hey, remember how right now in Marvel Comics, Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm are in a different universe and powerless, and we're all excited to see how they get out of that?
Yeah.
Well, they get out of it, and it doesn't matter because they only mentioned that they were in another universe once in one sentence in the book, and that they couldn't find Reed and Sue, and that's literally all the context that it takes. And I have a really big problem with that, because why would I want to buy Marvel 2-in-1 now?
Yeah.
I know how it ends. Nothing happens, they don't find anybody, and they just go home with their powers intact.
Maybe because they're back in the same universe, he just kind of instinctually does it because he sees it and then, like, burns? I don't know.
Yeah, but see, my point is that
It doesn't tell you, like, directly what happened, you're just
well,
guessing.
It's spoiler 2-in-1, and also now you've got this, like, whole, like, this whole continuity issue of, like, so are they in the main universe afterwards now, or are they, like, in this other universe now, still looking for them all, right?
Yeah.
And really, it's just laziness or, like, apprehension by Marvel or jumping the gun to get a new product out, because, like, those stories are probably already written and probably to some extent already drawn. So if Marvel 2-in-1, like, the whole Ben and Johnny thing ends in, like, another 2 or 3 issues, why not just wait 2 or 3 months and then release the Fantastic Four?
I don't know. Money, I guess.
And that's the problem, man. They, like, there's no... Marvel always had the best continuity.
Yeah.
DC, I love, and I personally like a lot of their characters better, but Marvel always had the best, tightest continuity, and it's stuff like this that's just spiraling out of control. It's what makes it hard to follow, because the characters that you're looking for and that you care about aren't necessarily where you think they are in every book, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, Peter Parker Spider-Man isn't in the same place across all 3 of his books.
Yeah.
He can be doing different things at different times, and they explain that by being like, well, it's, you know, it's different days, or these are stories in between each other, and I just find that's lazy. They managed to do it in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and parts of the 2000s. What's wrong with this chunk of this decade?
Yeah.
That's my rant about Fantastic Four, and why there's big parts of this was disappointing to me. I'm definitely going to give it another try. The next issue I'm excited to read. I mean, anything that provokes me to, like, have this kind of reaction, I'm always interested in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because feeling strongly about comics and having an opinion is something I love about comics.
But what if that was their tactic to get you in?
To get me all salty?
Yes.
And it probably...
Salt does sell.
It worked.
To a
Well,
certain
sometimes.
extent. Sometimes.
Let's get to the fun part, the good part.
Like Doom.
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 The Doom story. Everybody who read this and listened to my bitching for the last 10 minutes, read this comic anyways, because there's awesome flipping
Yes.
Doom story at the end.
Skip to Doom.
Simone Bianchi has great art. For those of you who don't know, he's done a lot of great work for DC the last couple of years, and he's back doing Marvel stuff. Holy crap, this was cool. I love this. So this kind of breaks the continuity a little bit with Marvel 2-in-1 as well, because Doom, like I said, is out in the multiverse. And I find with Doom, or with villains at least, it matters less, because they disappear and come back all the time, right?
Yeah.
They kind of just, you just put them on the back shelf, and then you bring them back and revamp them, right? It's just the way they do things. This was a really cool story.
Yeah.
What did you like about the Doom story?
It was a sick Doom story. Like, there is nothing more to say.
Sick Doom stories sort of speak for themselves. Did you want to summarize it really quick?
Kind of like, just like with Reed and Sue coming back, Doom returns back to his land, and it seems like, because I don't know what's really going on, so I read, there's like, I guess the UN or something has moved in, and like some rebel chick is like, you need to make Wakanda strong.
Sort of. It's not the UN. It's like a different faction in Latveria.
Yeah.
So somebody else has taken over Latveria while Doom's been gone or being a hero.
And she pulls like the whole kneeling, here's your mask, we need you again. Like the mask is
Yeah.
a symbol. And he's like, people fear me for this mask. It's like, well, true Laverians or whatever see it as a symbol of freedom.
Yeah.
And he just like hops down, like, he's like,
Awesome Doom lines.
I am
love
Doom.
awesome Doom lines.
and yeah, the Sentinels are like, we follow you, Doom. And then he just crushes them. He's like, I need no one, no armor.
Yeah, so
Just
it's
the
really
will of
cool
Doom.
because she fights all these Doom bots and takes the face, like Will says, the mask of one of them, and presents it to him, to Doom himself, whose face is all shattered again. We assume it's all messed up and jacked up. It looks horribly mangled again. You kind of get some hints at it. But the cool thing about it is that Doom isn't wearing the armor. He's not doing anything. He's just like wearing his cloak and the mask and like shooting magic.
Like
he's
this
like
whole page was sick.
he's like completely buck naked and he's just like blasting magic and running around. It's pretty cool. I agree. This page is why I love Doctor Doom, because he says awesome shit like this.
But it's like the
Men fear this mask, outsiders. For Latverians, that is the face of hope. Your name again, woman, Zora. Thank you, Zora, for reminding me. And this is so gangster, man. There is the visage I was born with. The one fate would keep forcing upon me, but this is the face I chose. As he puts like the mask back on, it's so G, man. That's why Doctor Doom's, in my opinion, like Marvel's best villain. He says the coolest shit all the time. You know what I mean? He's just so grandiose.
So, would you say that this Doom basically retributes whatever it's called, the book itself? Would you recommend buying the book just for Doom, or would you recommend skipping it? Or
I would definitely recommend picking it up. Fantastic Four's back, and I love the Fantastic Four. They're really cool. The fact that Doom's back as a villain and bringing it back like already in issue 1 makes me really excited. Like that is freaking awesome, and I cannot be happier.
I'm going to have speculation on him coming back as a villain. I think he maybe comes back as a semi-villain to start, but then is like good.
That's the beauty of Doom. You never know, man. His intentions are all over the place. But despite what I say about the comic, it was pretty solid, and the Doom part is really good. I would be really interested in hearing other people's opinions on it. Lots of the problem that I had with it was like organizational issues, right?
Yeah.
Like continuity errors and like release timing and just poor editing. It doesn't make it like a bad story or a bad comic. It's just like, come on, Marvel, you're one of the biggest companies in the world. You make billions of dollars off the movie. You couldn't pay somebody to cut out a couple of Dan's stuff, or say like, hey, maybe move Fantastic Four up into this issue instead of the second one. Yeah. That's all I'm saying, right? It's bad management choices. Never worked in comics.
Sold them, never wrote them.
Sold them, never wrote them, never worked for Marvel. Well, thanks for listening to this rant about Fantastic Four, guys. Get in there and pick up your copies down at Wizards Show Park and 109th Street in Edmonton. And don't forget to mash the like and subscribe buttons to hang out with me and Will easily a couple times a week. Try to post all the updates we can. Comment, let us know what you want to see. We're still trying to brew up new ideas. So,
rip Steve Ditko.
R.I.P. Last but not least, they did a really cool Steve Ditko memorial on the inside of the book. For anybody who wanted to check it out, it was really, really tasteful. Very cool by Marvel to actually get some good quotes and a cool piece for one of the all-time greatest comic creators.
So I guess before we leave, because we said
Steve.
that. Yep. I may have not know who you are really, but I've seen some of your panels. So I guess because I'm new to him, and it is respectfully saying peace out to him, recommend books from.
Steve Ditko created Spider-Man with Stan Lee. So anybody looking for some good Steve Ditko stuff, go back and check out your old Stan Lee's. He did some good stuff on Doctor Strange back in the day as well, which was really popular. One of the big artists of the 60s and in the 70s. He's a all-time classic Silver Age guy.
Yeah, he was the artist.
Yeah,
where Stan was the
Spider-Man.
writer.
Yep, 100%. He's the Jack Kirby of Spider-Man, if you will.
Yes. That is why
will be missed. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
So see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Hopefully we don't burn. So, guys, we're with Bryce. We're driving down the road. Hi, Bryce. You can't really focus, I guess, because we're on the road.
And we're in between two other cars.
Yeah. Try. My lack of editing skills will not let me block people. So I'm sorry ahead of time. There's going to be a lot of editing here. So where are we heading?
We're going to get a milkshake. So we're going to Kraft Donald's, the usual place that we go for cheap food.
Yes.
There's a bee on my car.
Yeah, the
And he doesn't get off. There's also a dragonfly in the back seat, but he's dead.
So we just did some videoing of kill teams with Mike in our little intro
I'm
videos.
excited to actually play that. Like, I really want to play that one.
Gotta
A Pokemon Dragon.
Well, we're here, so we'll see you guys in whatever next video we do.